For this week's memo to Trump, I want to talk about coronavirus because, Mr. President, your scientific illiteracy and pathological lying are just no longer just a stain on you and your office. They're downright deadly. First, nobody elected you because of your expertise in the field of biochemistry. But this is really egregious.
The same vaccine could not work. You take a solid flu vaccine, you don't think that would have an impact or much of an impact on corona?
No.
Probably none. Probably not.
So,
Despite being surrounded by experts on this crisis for weeks, you're still asking questions so basic that a high schooler could answer them probably with laughter, since your premise was so ridiculous. And your unwillingness to sit up and pay attention is putting American lives at risk every day. Like when you made this offhanded and irresponsible comment on Fox News this week.
We have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that get better just by, sitting around and even going to work. Some of them go to work, but they get better.
I can hardly imagine anything more harmful than you going on national television and telling Americans that they'll just get better if they go to work with coronavirus, while your own CDC is basically pleading with people who exhibit symptoms to stay at home to slow the spread of the disease, even as you sacrifice the well-being of Americans for your own ego.
Because I like the numbers being where they are. I don't need to have the numbers double because of one ship. That wasn't our fault.
You're so obsessed with keeping the numbers artificially low, you won't allow sick Americans to return home for medical care because you're afraid it might make you look bad. But I think you know already looking bad is what you are. So you're frantically looking for someone to blame, including the media and this network in particular, for just informing the public about your inadequate response. And of course, you're blaming your most predictable person, blame President Obama.
The Obama administration made a decision on testing that turned out to be very detrimental to what we're doing, and we undid that decision a few days ago.
With all due respect, Mr. President, what you really undone was all the effective work the Obama administration did in preparing for a crisis just like this one. 2 years ago, you fired the entire pandemic response chain of command. And in your most recent budget proposal to Congress, you requested a 16% funding cut to the Centers for Disease Control, the agency on the front line of the coronavirus fight. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is able to screen tens of thousands of patients with an accurate test developed in Germany and distributed by the World Health Organization. Your administration stubbornly stuck with its own test, even when you knew it was flawed. And you just keep making wild speculations without a shred of evidence to back them up.
The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true.
Of course, the scientists who actually studied the disease beg to differ, saying that it's too soon to know how the coronavirus will react to warmer weather. We've already established you can't be bothered to listen to scientists and experts, Mr. President. Maybe we are all better off by doing the exact opposite of what you say. Meanwhile, since the best practices for the slowing of the spread of this coronavirus include washing hands and covering the mouth if you cough or sneeze, you, Mr. President, should consider covering or even closing your mouth for a while. We'll be right back.